Hi, this is Alan Cowgill, and I am delighted that you're on this call tonight. I've decided to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, but I rarely get a chance to talk about that. In fact, the only time I teach this topic is at my live events. And what I've decided to do, because it is so critical to your success, is to take the time to share it with you. So I'd grab a pen and a paper, and let's get started on this. This is actually how to run your real estate business. My goal is to teach you how to turn your real estate business into a hands-free money machine that runs without you. And actually, that's what you were looking for the day you got into the business. And I know you got a lot of things to do, such as finding new lenders and selling property, locating home buyers, purchasing new properties, orchestrating contractors, rehab, advertising, finding renters or buyers, payroll, utilities, insurance, paying mortgages, interest payments, keeping lenders happy, collecting rent, office bills, paperwork, and more paperwork, and a whole lot more. And all of the items that I just went through create chaos in your business. And many times it's because the owners haven't created systems within their company. And what I need to tell you right at the start is that this is a topic that other trainers don't talk about. I frankly call it the ugly topic. It's what they tend to kick under the carpet. They want to talk about the sexy things, about how you can generate leads and how you can sell properties, and that's okay. That stuff is needed. How you find motivated sellers, but this is the grunt work that is critical to your long-term success, because you must have systems created and implemented to remove chaos in your company. And what I noticed about my business over the past 14 years is that I grew my business. I created more work for myself. Have any of you found that? Well, I couldn't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you see, like I said, other real estate investors just don't talk about that because it's the ugly side of the business and it's just not sexy. I knew how to make good money in real estate, but I clearly didn't know how to do it without killing myself. And I knew I had to make some changes or I was simply going to burn myself out. The problem was, as my business started to grow, I began to feel the stress of additional work and running after different deals, massive paperwork and phone calls, and in fact I even gave up golf to free up some additional time. Well, I'll tell you, that's the end of the rope right there. You give up something that you love. But even that didn't help me, like I said. And the problem was I didn't get into real estate to give up things that I enjoyed. It actually should be just the opposite, shouldn't it? In other words, with every small improvement to your bottom line, there comes a mountain of new paperwork, phone calls, emails, meetings, and more. And you need to know that chaos is inherent in all new businesses. And your business and small businesses experience constant chaos, and most entrepreneurs, like you, are so busy growing their business, they don't have time to take care of what they need to do to create the systems. And without the systems in your company, you erode your profits that you work so hard to get. In fact, in the first 5 years, I heard that 90% of all new businesses fail. And so I began an intensive study of some of the world's most successful business people. I attended more than a dozen high-priced conferences and boot camps. I enrolled in an exclusive $10,000 a year business coaching program led by the legendary business consultant Michael Gerber. And he wrote the book E-Myth. If you haven't read that, I would strongly recommend that you go out and grab a copy immediately. I signed up under coaching as a coaching student, and what they had, which is called the E-Myth Academy. E stands for entrepreneur. And their philosophy is you need to work on your business, not in your business. And I think if you analyze what you spend your time on during the day, most of you are going to find out that you're working in your business. You're doing the grunt work rather than working on your business, on how do I make this business efficient and grow and virtually run without you someday. Here's what Gerber had to say. He said, so now that, what do? Now that the fire is burning, now that you want to get started, now that you want to turn your business into a little money machine, a turnkey operation, small business owners must take the first step. You must step back from your business as it is today and decide what it must look like when you finally got it just the way you want it. And then determine the gap between where you are and where you want to be in order to make your dreams a reality. That gap will tell you exactly what needs to be done to create the business of your dreams. And what you'll discover when you look at your business is that that gap is always created by the absence of systems, the absence of a proprietary way of doing business that successfully differentiates your business from everyone else's. And remember, when you hear something, you forget it. When you see something, you remember it. But not until you do something do you actually understand it. By Michael Gerber. You know, this is the very principle that allowed Ray Kroc to duplicate his success at one McDonald's hamburger stand and create a multi-billion-dollar franchise with stores spanning the globe. And early on in my real estate career, I just flew by the seat of my pants. I was making things up as I went along. However, one of the key insights I learned from Michael Gerber, that the importance of creating systems for everything in your business, a way of doing things that you follow to the letter almost without exception. Well, I spent 5 years in that coaching program and spent $114,730, and I emerged with an amazing, efficient real estate business. The hassle that I once taken for granted were dramatically reduced, and I found myself working fewer hours and spending more time with my family. I literally created a system and a check sheet to follow for every single aspect of my business, from filing paperwork to making big deals. So let's look at the results. This property I wanted to retail. The guy came along and he said, hey, I got some credit bruises. I can't get conventional financing, but I got $40,000 I can plunk down on this if you'll be my bank. And I did. I did that. That was on a Monday, actually, the same week that this house sold. This is another house. I wanted to wholesale it, and wholesale it for $10,451 on a Tuesday. And on a Wednesday, the same week, this property here sold for $7,664. And you're saying, well, that's not very much money. And you're right, but I never touched the house. It was a sweat equity deal. I didn't. In fact, I was only in the house for just a few minutes one day. Well, on Monday I got a check for $40,000. On Tuesday, $10,451, and Wednesday, $7,664. Total of $58,115. Pretty good 3-day week. But let me tell you, the best part, I've never been in the $40,000 house. I've never saw the $10,451 house. I walked through the $7,661 house for 6 minutes. I never went to closing to buy, to sell, and I never contacted the private lender, the insurance company, or the escrow agent. You see, what my system on how to run my real estate business has done for me is I show up an hour every Monday and have a meeting with a couple people on my staff on how we're running the business, and I show up 15 minutes every Wednesday to sign checks. And then there's just a few cell phones calls during the week, and that's it. Just imagine how many more deals you could do, how much more money you can make if you could free up an extra 10, 12, or more, like me, in your hours every week. You see, today I have more time available to me because I removed the chaos from my business. And you can do the same just by learning a few simple things that I've done. It's just not about going out and hiring employees. In fact, taking that approach will create additional problems for you and more chaos in your business. It goes much deeper, and you might want to write these down. So number one is you need systems. You need structure. You need organization, a business plan, and it's the vision of how to replicate everything you would do in the business so that other folks can handle things exactly the way you would do it, even if you're gone. Small businesses can remove chaos, and as the company grows, these systems are critical so that the employees can mimic the owner and not go out and wing it and create their own systems. System implementation removes the chaos in your company. You know, you might be driven to live real estate 24/7 today, like I was, but there's going to come a day when you're going to want some freedom from the day-to-day operations. So what about your situation? Is your real estate business running you ragged? Are you overwhelmed by phone calls, buried in paperwork, constantly running to meetings, toward in too many directions? Are you starting to burn out? Well, if you're like most real estate investors who try to grow their businesses, you have, or you soon will, hit a bottleneck. Just imagine how much more relaxed you'd feel if you could radically reduce the number of meetings and phone calls you have to participate in. And how about the opportunity to spend less time working and more time with your family and friends and doing other things that you love? In short, imagine yourself in control. Control your real estate business with things running smoothly and profitably, and even when you're gone for weeks or months at a time. Imagine how great you'd feel and how much more you'd get done and how much more fun you'd have with your life. My goal is to help you start removing the chaos from your business right now by showing you what I did, thereby freeing you up from the headaches and aggravations that hold you down like a ball and chain. So grab a pen and a paper, and you're going to want to take a lot of notes. Here's the agenda. The agenda is my business startup, how I got started, office management techniques, my management decisions, buying, fixing, and selling. The whole topic is just how to run your business. So here's how I got started and got incorporated. I started out in corporate world and in corporate drudgery, and then I moved into real estate investing. With education persistent, I made my way to where I am today. In 2001, I quit my corporate job. I got in real estate in 1995, and I became a full-time real estate investor, and this afforded me an incredible amount of freedom. And I joined a RIA group, Real Estate Investor Association. They were looking for new members, and I was looking for an education. And joining that organization, I eventually became a board member. And the RIAs in your area are a tremendous way to get an education. I would highly recommend that you join one because they bring in local and national speakers. And plus the networking, the people that you meet in the group are probably the best resource that you could have. July 7th, I bought my first property back in 1995. And once you get past the first one, they all get easier after that. But before you purchase, try to get a good, solid education because it's the foundation of the business. It's critical to every decision and negotiation you will make in this business. This education is an ongoing, never-ending process. Making time to grow the business, well, I went to boot camps, and the goal of the education is to avoid the months, perhaps years, of repeated mistakes and lost profit that it would take for you to learn for yourself. What an expert can teach you quickly over a few days is tremendous, so you can see how they did it. Diversify your education. I wish I would have taken a variety of different boot camps in the first year or two, and because a number of the pieces of the puzzle would have fallen into place for me a lot quicker. I started out as a DBA doing business ads, and then I chose to eventually become a C corporation because for me I wanted to retain the earnings within the company. If you're wondering when to incorporate, my advice is sooner the better. Some of the management decisions I made along the way, well, I need an accounting software, and so I chose QuickBooks Pro. I'm not saying that that's the one for you, that's just what I did, so you know. And as soon as that software was in place, I hired a full-time administrative person to take care of all the paperwork, the bills, the rents, the invoices, and the filing. And all I do today is review the bills, sign the checks, and the admin takes care of everything else. That's even the depositing money in the bank. And I created written procedures for this whole system. In fact, one of the fattest books I have in the office is that one right there. And also my employees have access to financial information on a need-to-know basis only. I have 2 bank accounts. You might want to set this up early on. One is for your income account, and the other one is for your expenses. And so my admin writes the checks out of the expense account, and then what happens is when she tells me how much money we need for that week, then I move the money from account A to account B and from the income account. Just imagine you sell a property and you get a $40,000 check or more, and here that employee is making considerably less than that, and all of a sudden she sees you do that and get that big chunk of money. He or she is going to feel entitled maybe to some of that money, and I don't think that's a good way to run your business. I think you need to keep your income to yourself. And my assistant cuts the checks from accounting to pay the bills, and like I said, I move the money back and forth. As I started to grow, it was just me, and then I hired an administrative assistant, and I initially was running the business out of my home. And I got to tell you, they were there Thursday night and Saturday mornings, and I had to be there to make sure I had all the possessions left in my home when they left during the after the working hours. So that's the way I started up, and then I eventually got an office, and I found someone to help sell properties for me. My exit strategy is to sell the property outright, or do a rent-to-own, or a land contract for deed for some of you in your states, or I do rent some properties. So I wanted to take that work off of me, so I hired someone on a part-time basis to sell properties for me. And then I came up with the idea of having a mortgage liaison person. This is a person that works between my tenant buyers and the mortgage brokers to help the tenant buyer buy the home. In fact, I actually think about this position as a ping pong ball, because they go back and forth between the tenant buyer and the mortgage person. And the reason I needed that position was because I wasn't getting enough houses cashed out. And by creating this, I had a person focused on getting people to the closing table, and the mortgage liaison didn't get any money, didn't get paid a dime until the day we closed, and then she would get $1,000. Now, I had a little trouble with the first one, so I just went ahead and married her, and I had to go get another one. Okay? So, gotta have a little fun, right? And then I hired a buyer. And a lot of you think you can't hire that position, but if you have systems, you can. And that's what happened to me. I had so much money coming into my life from finding private lenders that wanted to invest in properties that I couldn't buy enough properties. And so I had to hire someone to spend the money for me. Well, that was a tough problem, wasn't it? I hired a gentleman. His name was Kevin. He had only bought 2 personal residences before. And when he came in spending my money from mid-September to Christmas to the year he hired in, he bought 23 properties for me. Well, and then I began to develop some systems, and you need to write these 3 down. You need to have policies and procedures in your business. You need to have check sheets, which I see as the backbone of your system. And then you have to have key management reports. And I call these my chaos elimination tools. So let me run through what I've got. I created a set of 128 written policies and procedures for my company. The policies are clear and undeniable in case of employee difficulties, and this is the first step in eliminating chaos. It establishes a professional working environment and a set of clear expectations for my employees. So I created an employee handbook to put these in, and every employee, first day on the job, they get a 3-ring binder with the handbook. And then I've got key management reports so I can keep a pulse on the business. And I created 19 check sheets on how to run the business. A check sheet on how to buy property, a check sheet on how to sell property, a check sheet on lease option, a check sheet on renting, and on and on and on. And I created a dream team. I got an accountant, attorneys, insurance agents, employees, sales team, administrative assistant, and payroll management. I outsource my payroll. So obviously you need to have your dream team. I got an expense report where every month I can check expenses. I've got an equity report so I can see how much equity I've got in every property. And I've got a monthly cash flow. This happens to be empty property, so it's all negative. But in a quick look, I can see with those reports, and I didn't want to belabor them, I just wanted you to see that you need to have some key management reports created like that. And we could spend a ton of time on every one of those, but due to time constraints, I just can't. Rent payments. Well, I invoice the tenants on the 20th of every month. Rent payments come in through the mail or drop by the office, or we have a lockbox on the premises so they can come to the office, and if we aren't there, they can put it in a lockbox. And then I post them on a whiteboard, so I got visual management tools so I can see who's paid and who's not. I'll show you a copy of that board here in just a minute. Rent policy is the rent's due on the 1st, late on the 2nd, and I post on the property on the 3rd. I don't wait and belabor the fact that if I don't get paid, they know they got to pay on the 1st. If they don't, then I take aggressive steps toward getting the rent. And I think you will find that your life is easier if you do that because 9 out of 10 times when you get aggressive about the rent, they will come through quickly. I've got this visual management tool, this whiteboard, to where my assistant marks up when payments come in, and then her or I or anyone can actually see who hasn't paid, and that's a heck of a lot quicker than going through a computer or going through a file and figuring out who's paid and who hasn't. And there's a copy of it. I've actually upgraded the board right now. I use magnets, green and red magnets, rather than those check marks that you see on there. So I got a magnetic board, and so for every property, I just if they haven't paid, they get a red circle magnet, and if they have paid, it's green. And so here's for an example. You got the address first. You got whether they paid or not. If they haven't paid, then we put up a notice. There's another column there to where we post on them. In our state, it's 3-day notice. In your state, it's probably different. You need to know what your eviction policy is. And then if we file at the courthouse, that is where we give them the eviction notice from the courthouse. I have a check sheet on evictions. This is just the very, very top part of it. So once we start an eviction, we go right down through it, and I even have phone numbers on who we call, so that the admin doesn't even have to look that up. If somebody eventually goes to court, doesn't pay, and gets evicted, well, then we have a lockout. And this is the sheet on locking them out. Once went to a lockout, and the tenant was in the property and said that well, they had a pie in the oven and they were going to pay me the next day. Now think about this. We've already been through eviction court. They knew they would be evicted, and there was no guarantee that they're ever going to go out. And what happens in our state is a bailiff shows up and escorts them out so I can have possession of the property. And here's the guy in the car with his pie, and he's out. So hated to do that, but you know I'm paying a mortgage on the property, and you know it is a business. You know, office management systems. Well, what do I have? Well, I've got a security system for my computers. I have a spare computer, an extra computer called a server, and so all the computers in the office have data stored on that, and then once a week it's backed up and taken off site. You also have to have antivirus and firewall systems, and so what I've got is a computer company that manages my computers for me. And answering the phone. I even have a system. Now think about how anal this is, I guess, but how people answer the phone. Why? Because I found some people were unprofessional when they answered the phone, and so I thought, well, let's just make them all the same. And so what employees are asked to do, and in fact we even practice this first day on the job, is when they answer the phone, it's good morning, Integrity Home Buyers. This is Alan Cowgill. How may I help you? When you call my office, every employee will answer the phone like that. I want it professional and friendly, and everybody doing it the same way. When somebody calls in for the house for sale, we have a script. I've got 12 questions that are asked, and fill out a report. It's how did you hear about us? What's the full address of the home? Is the home listed? Why are you selling? When would you like to move? And does the house need any repairs? What I'm looking for here is motivated sellers. I've got a filing system. In fact, when I teach this, everybody is very interested in how I set up my filing system. I've got a tenant file, and I use yellow hanging folders for the tenants. Why? Well, if I walk in the office, I see a yellow folder laying on somebody's desk, I know right away it came out of the tenant file. I've got a property file, an insurance file, and expense files. All those are blue. And then I also have a private lender file. That hanging folder is red. But I have, if you can envision, I have a file drawer for each of those. And I would imagine you'd want to structure yours the same way. On the expense file, each property has an individual file to keep track of its expenses for contractors and repairs and utility bills for trash and water. So every property has its own file for expenses, and they're filed numerically by the property address. So if, like I had one time, I had 3 properties that were 123 Main Street. So I had three of them in there with all right together because it was all 1, 2, 3, and then just different street names. Also, on the property files, they contain all the pertinent information on the property: the appraisal, the HUD statement, the closing document, the rehab information. So not the expense information, but the sheets on what I wanted to do when I rehab the property, and what I sent over to the appraiser for to get an after repaired value appraisal. All that information is put into the property file. And then I've got a private lender filing system where I've got the lender's name, the property address, the interest that I'm paying them, because that can change from private lender to private lender, and the terms of the payment. I put this in a manila folder, and in the top left-hand corner, in a black felt pen, I write down the name of the lender and file these in alpha order. How I hire employees, I love my hiring system. You know, conventional wisdom is if you're going to hire somebody, you call them in for a half hour, take a 15-minute break, and then the next person come in. Interview them for a half hour, take another 15-minute break. Well, you know, you got to repeat what the job's about over and over and over again, and what happens if somebody doesn't show? You know, it just blows part of your day. And, you know, some of you do a phone screening ahead of time. Well, that takes up a lot of time. Here's what I do. Number one is I run an ad with a fax number only. So the ad will say something like, local real estate company seeks administrative assistant to do filing, answer phones, no experience needed, will train. Microsoft Excel and Word are required, fax resume to, da-da-da. And so the resumes come in, I sort them into two groups, A and B. B group goes into the trash. A groups are people that I think are have the qualifications. I call in group A for a meeting all at the same time, and that's the secret. Have them all come in. I can interview 19 folks in an hour. Have them all come in at the same time. I tell them these items, the company story. For an example, my company story is from a meager beginning. Back in 1995, a wonderful company called Integrity Home Buyers was born. It's become a serious real estate investment firm located in west central Ohio. Its goal is to grow the company by providing homes to first-time home buyers and tenants. In time, its scope will encompass not only Springfield, Ohio, but the surrounding community. The company is a private for-profit real estate investment company. You all should have a company story. Where'd you come from? And then I tell the candidates about the job, and then I say the way this works is I hope you all stay. And I say that 3 times to them at 3 different times during this process. I say I hope you all stay because I'd love to talk to you for just a few minutes. Just have a 3-minute interview where you can ask me questions. And this whole process from A, B, and C takes me 10 minutes. Now imagine telling 19 folks what the job's all about in 10 minutes. I tell them what it pays, I show them where their desk is at, and if we're at the office. If we're not, then I just have to describe the office and where it's at. But sometimes I'll have the interviews off-site at a hotel. And then I ask the first person that came in, are you going to stick around? And they say yes. And then what we do is we ask everybody to stand outside, and I'll call them. They can come in whatever order they want to. They can work it out, but I'm going to spend 3 minutes with each one of them. And so when the person comes over and sits down to talk to me, I typically ask them 3 questions. I ask them, one is, what did they hear that they liked about the job? Number 2 is I'll ask them about their computer skills, and I'll ask them scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, where you at on Microsoft Word. And same thing for Excel. And then I will ask them why they're looking for a job, and then do they have any questions for me. As they're walking out the door when we're done, I'll write on their resume A or B or C, and the A's come back for the long 1-hour interview, and so my admin will call them back immediately right after this session. We'll get the long interview set up. First day on the job, new employees clock in at 10 o'clock. They don't come in at 8. Many of you would start a new employee at 8 o'clock. Well, I want to get my staff's feet on the ground before the new employee shows up. And then I've got 85 slide PowerPoint slide presentation that runs by itself. And it tells the new employee everything I want all new employees to know. What's the dress code? Where do you park the car? What's the when? How do you get paid? Where's the time clock at? And goes exactly everything. Why do I do that? Well, I want to give them all the information, and I don't want to miss something. So they're given the handbook, like I talked about earlier, and then they get a brief tour of the office so you can see how to turn on and off the lights and where the exits are. And I do not give them a key. Why? Because if they don't make it, I don't want to change the locks. They have to wait for maybe a month before they get a key to the office. On the new employee handbook, it shows them within the book samples on how to clock in and out. It's got company phone numbers, dress code, vacation time, sick days, rules on when you're going to be late, what you need to do. And this PowerPoint presentation I've created introduces all new employees to our business and gives them a 20-minute overview of the company. On payroll, I have a system. I have I use ADP to do my payroll, so I take that off-site and I fax out the payroll to that service, and every 2 weeks they overnight the checks back to me because I pay every other week. I sign them and then I hand out the checks. And there's also a non-compete, non-disclosure statement that all employees sign. I advertise in several ways. Realtors, like I talked about, yellow pages, signs. I love signs. Love signs. Door knockers, we pay somebody to canvass an area and put up door knockers, and newspaper ads. Here's my yellow pages ad. And I have bandit signs. I like them yellow signs where with black letters, and I keep the phone number really big. Post them on lawns and roadsides with the metal stands, those H brackets, and easy to read. And I use 18 by 20 on trees. Here's my property inspection sheet that I talked about. So step by step by step, all I do is have to fill in the repair cost, add it up. You can see down at the bottom where I have the place for mail on the left-hand side, and I make the offer. I map out to help make it easier for myself and my realtor showing me these properties. I have a map hanging in my office that is yellowed out. I used a yellow highlighter, and I said I don't want to buy in this area because they're harder to sell. It's an area where there's mostly rentals, but any other place on the map is wide open, and we'll go look at those properties. When I get ready to buy a property, as you can imagine now, I've got a purchasing check sheet, and if you don't have one, you need to start creating one. You can see at the top, I put the address and all that. I put the name of the investor. If I got 2 investors, I got a place for that. Insurance, and signed purchase and sale agreement. Do a title search, order appraisal. Goes on and on and on. And there's 21 steps in buying a house. All you're seeing here is just the first page and who's responsible. Now, fixing a property. You're going to buy property at times, it's going to need fixed. Maybe you got something like that. Can you any folks relate to that? Well, maybe like that. That's a lot of heavy drugs there, isn't it? She was so proud of her artwork, she signed her name going up the stairways. Her name was Lisa. And those little squares you see back there on that back wall, there's a raised tile up, if you will, and what she did was take the time to mark around every one of them. So anyhow, all you do is go on in, clean it up, paint it, and life goes on. When I start out, just so you know how I grew this business, I started out with the least expensive folks I could hire, and I hired folks with a set of tools and a rusty old pickup truck. No company name, no references, no verification they could get the job done. And what I found was, if you find somebody that says, I can do everything, run. You want a specialist. You want somebody that does plumbing, and somebody else that does roofing, and somebody else that does electrical. And when somebody says they can do everything, that was the folks in the rusty old pickup trucks. Today I've got a great pool of skilled and dependable contractors. I want folks that are licensed. And what I found was, you stay away from the handyman, and actually at the other end of the spectrum are people that got yellow pages ads, and nothing wrong with that, but that was too expensive for me. The folks I work with don't have the yellow pages ad, but they are licensed. I told you about certain pricing for certain areas. I've got a sheet that has the cost on fixing different things, and so I know if I want to paint a basement, it's $500. Kind of give you some idea of the work we do. Here is a before picture, and then watch, I'll show you the after right now. That's how it looks afterwards. Went through, sided the property, shutters, nice door, mailbox, put a new light fixture. There's a before again, and then we also graveled the drive, and we're actually, when I took this picture, we had a big pile of gravel to the right, and we're just taking that on down the way. So kitchens, gooseneck faucet, double bowl sink, and we put in the oven and the burner tops, and the hood, the vent above there. Paint everything out, gold handles, new flooring. So we do a nice job on putting houses together. When I love this what I'm getting ready to talk to you about right now. When we sell a house, what many of you do is you don't have a system set up. So what you do is you maybe have pigeonholes or hanging files where you got all the forms set up that you need, and you go to different files and pull out all these documents to where you can rent a house or lease option or sell a house outright. I don't do that. What I did was I created a master of all the documents that I wanted to give a tenant and put them inside a manila folder. And then I have my assistant, my admin, assemble 10 packets in advance for each property that we want to, in advance, put them in a file cabinet and label them. So I have 10 packets on rent to own. I'll have 10 packets on rent. I'll have 10 packets on to sell a house outright. I'll have 10 packets on land contracts, which is contract for deed for some of you. And then, as we have people come in and rent a house or lease option a house, we'll start to use those packets up. And when we get down to 5 packets, that's a trigger for the admin to fill the file back up and get it up to 10 again. And then that packet that we fill out obviously has all the documents, let's say for somebody that wants to rent. And we'll give the renter a copy of the documents, and then we take this manila folder and move it from this file that we have here into their own tenant file. Remember those hanging files that are yellow that are in property address? Well, that's where that manila folder goes. Types of deals we do is just like I said, lease option, land contract, retail where we sell for all cash, or we wholesale stuff too. Monday afternoon we have a 2 o'clock meeting for 1 hour. It's myself, my admin, and my acquisitions manager. And we go over a report. Remember I talked about key reports that you ought to have? Well, we have a vacant property sheet. So any properties that are vacant, I want to know what the address is, number of bedrooms, bath, lockbox combination in case I want to go visit the house, which is a rarity anymore. Utilities, whether they're on or off. That's important, isn't it? Especially in the wintertime in Ohio. Down payment we want, and what the monthly payments are. Advertising, we only run the ads on the 15th through the end of the month. I don't run them on the first 14 days of the month. Why? Because I did a study on it and I was wasting my money because I wasn't getting people put into properties on those dates. We stage the house. So as you can see here, we put up mini blinds. There's a new kitchen back there, the new carpet, and we'll put up a little table and vase. Inexpensive. I think the table's $1 and the vase $1, and so is the flowers. So when people walk in, they get a nice look. On selling a property, as you can imagine, I've got a check sheet. There's 18 steps on selling a property. So step number 1, give them the keys at closing, cancel the insurance, get the utilities turned off, and step by step by step by step on what we need to do to get rid of it. If I want a lease option, so rather than selling it outright, which is what you just saw, let's say I want to lease option it. Well, here's the steps we go through to lease option and who's responsible for it, step by step by step. And let's say you want to have an open house. You know, great thing to do in this market, especially if you got a nice house all fixed up. Check sheet on what you need to do to lease option a house. Frankly, people getting into real estate to get rich and then end up with a whole new set of problems to solve before they can get free of the business. Systems are the key to this freedom. Look, in less than 60 minutes, I can't give you everything that you need to know about running a real estate business. You know, I can only hit the top of the iceberg. So what I've done to help you in your business is I've created the Real Estate Management Made Easy Home Study System. 6 manuals, 12 audios, 9 form CDs. It is step by step by step everything you need to do to take waste and chaos and give you your life back. It's how I buy, how I fix, how I manage, how I sell, all of my step-by-step check sheets, dealing with employees, managing tenants, dealing with contractors, collections, and much, much, much more. It's a franchise in a box. The system covers the entire scope of running a real estate business, step by step, from A to Z. What you must know is the system is simple, easy, proven, and you use it as soon as you get it. There is no trial and error, stress, or fear of failure. No waiting for success or wasted time, money, and energy. It'll save you hundreds of hours and, frankly, thousands and thousands of wasted dollars. So what's so great about it? Well, it's a comprehensive real estate investor's office management system. It will allow you to easily grow your business and streamline your efforts and increase your efficiency and give you the complete peace of mind to run your business. How many of you can see right now how valuable these benefits will immediately be to your business? You know, you got to unshackle yourself from the chaos. You will receive all my powerful office management techniques, buying and selling steps to make your business profitable and life easier, which is why you got into real estate to start with. Creating your dream team to give you the time to enjoy your life, quickly generate leads from buying and selling, rehab insights to save you from stress, and critical step-by-step check sheets to take all the chaos out of your business. I call that the backbone of the system. Compelling owner financing techniques, land trust logic and creation, deal structuring, what computer programs I use, and dealing with employees, the hiring of employees, and file management made easy. You can use my easy bill paying system, how I invoice tenants to get rent, and deal successfully with contractors. We all want to do that, right? Well, this is how you do it. How to evict tenants the pain-free way, and how to use the fundamental logic and insider secrets to run your business, how I got started and grew the business, and how to negotiate and structure deals. Who wants to be able to apply all these proven methods to your business? Well, I would think every one of you. Here's what you get. 6 manuals, acquisitions and sales, and the liaison position, policies and procedures, office management, sales associates, employee handbook, and your book, the President's Manual. I'm going to go through each one of these in just a second. You'll get every one of my systems and check sheets, so you can simply plug them into your business and immediately get similar results instantly. Look, if you can use a check sheet, you can use this system to grow your business. And there's 12 audios with this. Not a 6-pack, you get 12 with these audios, and they're specific to each individual manual. You'll receive the ultimate learning tool for establishing a real estate office that runs smoothly and profitably, and you'll hear me explain each facet of my business and what works and when. How these audios come about? Well, I interviewed my employees, the people actually hands-on doing the job. I created a list of questions. I set up a recording session, and then I pounded them with the questions, and they successfully answered how they did the job, so that you can hear it right from the folks actually out there doing the job day to day with my insights. Let's talk about the very first book, the Administrative Assistant book. A little bit about that. This is the book that is the one that runs your office. It out there, it has files for the admin job. There's a forms CD with this. There's a 140-page manual and 4 audios where I interviewed the lady doing the job. And in this, for an example, just different reports that I've already created. An income report out here for the monthly meetings and insurance crossover. So if you got a policy, a letter comes in from the insurance company, the policy, and you don't know what property it goes to, well, this is my quick and easy reference guide. Just so many tools with this that go with the administrative job. This is the very first position that you will hire in your company, so it will take the paperwork task off of you. The second book, manual, is the sales associate's position. Well, what's this? This is the handbook of how to do the sales within your company. It's a 93-page manual, and there is one form CD. Why one? Well, it's the whole 93-page manual, so that you can take out any information that's got my company name on there, put your company name on there, and make this yours so that you can use this with your company. Now, if this is the second position that you'll hire to take the work off on getting properties filled and sold, and so this is the handbook for that person, so you don't have to be shackled with doing day-to-day training. You give them the book, you do upfront training with them, obviously, and then after that they run with it, and they can refer right back to the manual over and over and over. And then the policies and procedures manual. Wow, this thing is awesome. I hired 3 people to create this. The first person was a secretary that worked for me in another life, and she didn't get it done. And so then I hired in a guy that was anal, and I thought, man, this guy's going to go right after it. He worked on it, did a lot of good work, never got it done. Third person I hired in was another secretary, and I even bought her a desk, a computer, and she came in day to day to put this thing together, and she didn't get it done. Finally, I had to stop what I was doing, put this thing together. There are 86 procedures on this. With this manual, you get 2 forms CDs. It is, listen to this, 361 pages. Let me ask you, would you like to sit down and write 361 pages? Well, if you're running a real estate business, that's what it takes. And I've done it. So in the whole system that I'm talking about with these 6 manuals and all, there's 186 files on 9 CDs. The one I'm talking about right now is the procedure book, policy and procedure book. So you get all my office tools. There are, the next 4 slides, I'm going to go through a procedure. The first part you're going to see on the next slide is the flow chart. The flow chart of the steps. The second one is the benchmarks, which gives the details on what that procedure is all about. And then the quantifications, I got to be candid with you. I didn't spend a lot of time on that, but some of you are going to want to fill that in. I just ran out of time on that, but some jobs you want to quantify, you can do that. But what I did spend a lot of time on was the next one, which I love, which is the attachments, which gives a visual impact on what is necessary within that job. So let's just take a look at one procedure, and as I go through this, ask yourself 2 questions. One is, would you like to spend the time and effort to create this? And number 2 is, wouldn't it be great if I already had it done? Well, this is on yard signs. What I do on here is I get my signs from Bandit Signs and who I talk to, and you'll see the start of the flow chart on getting the signs. Then the second step in my procedures is the benchmarks. Exactly what I'm looking for, step by step by step. And then I'm just going to skip over the quantifications, but what I'm going to show you is the attachments. How would you like to have colored pictures of how the signs should look? I mean, I've had a mess where people haven't put the signs up. You know, this is how I want to display the signs. I want to make a party out of it. I have 5 signs in every yard. 4 of them are for sale signs, and the 5th sign is the We Buy Houses sign. And what kind of signs do you want to buy? Some are pointer, some are just regular yard signs. And should you put in the area code? Well, I don't, because of where I live within the state. But some of you live on borders, and you'll have to put the area code. So in your signs, what you'll do is you will show that, and that way the people ordering the signs for you aren't going to mess it up. That's how important that is. And how about the acquisition, sales, and liaison system? Let's talk about that. This is the folks that buy, sell, and also this liaison position that I created. I love to have these pre-printed packets. Well, on the form CD, they're already done for you. These are already in the folders and ready for you to print out. For an example, just in the sample that I've got up here, I've shown you land contract, lease option, and rent, top left-hand corner. And then when I drill down on the rent side, look what's inside the packet. How to pay, lead-based paint form, lease agreement, notice of rights, rental check sheet, rental insurance, smoke alarm, and tenant letter. Exactly what I want in the packet. Now, the beauty of this is I've done the work, and if you want to adjust it if you need some modifying, a new form, or want to use your lease, not mine, just pop it out and put it in there, but then you're ready to go. Beats the heck out of starting this thing from ground zero like I did. And on the form CD, I'm going to show you 4 slides, just like I did on that procedure. I'm going to show you now a check sheet, and I'm going to walk you through it on purchasing a property. This is the top of it. I've got a header, the property address, the date of purchase, the purchase price, and then, so all my check sheets have a header, and then what I do is I have these 3 columns. The left-hand column is the item, the middle column there is the person responsible, and the right hand is a place for any special notes on this. So step by step on how to purchase a property. It goes on. Now these numbers started all over again. Why? Well, the first page was the acquisitions manager. Now I'm moving over to the salesperson, and so she has her own page. First one there is call up on to see the health department, see if the house had lead paint. Why is that important? Well, if you were a person that had 3 lead paint houses, like I did, you would see that got on your check sheet like I did. So step by step, and then here this is the person that logs it into QuickBooks Pro, and also gets the utilities on. I have a place on there for phone numbers, and it's the bookkeeper sheet, and that is filled out completely, so we know exactly what's going on within that property. If we got prorated rent, if there's a second mortgage, it goes on and on and on. You know, on that check sheet there are exactly 30 steps to buy a property. 30. Who would have thought? You know, if you miss one step, you just continue to have chaos in your business. You know, sit down right now and see if you can write down the 30 steps that I just went through. You know, if you don't have just this one check sheet, you know, what are your options? Stop with everything you're doing and create the check sheet yourself. Takes a lot of time. Hire somebody else to do it, but frankly, that costs me more time and effort than if I had just done it myself, and you'll hate that option because it still eats up as much, if not more time, than if you just sat down and do it yourself. I found it eating up more time. You know, get your hands on my Office Management Made Easy system today and take the pain out of your business starting right now. Frankly, 1 and 2 will cost you dearly in time and effort and money, and many times more than if you just select option 3. And there are 19 check sheets. I just showed you one with 30 steps. There's 19 check sheets to run a real estate business. If you don't have yours created, this is your ways to get your hands on mine. You know, which you wish you already had, the forms, those 89 forms, and the 19 check sheets. Now let's go to the employee handbook. Well, you know, some of you right now are mom and pop shop, one-person shows, and on that handbook, this is when you hire your first employee. My first employee was that administrative assistant that we talked, which is the very first book that I showed you. Second position was the sales associate. I showed you that as the second book. Well, with the employee book, there's 41 pages. This is the book that your employee would have on their desk. There are 2 forms on this. One is the forms that they'll use within their job. Well, what would that be? Well, if when somebody is off sick or they want to take vacation, I have a form they fill out. They turn it in to me, and I put it in their employee file. That way I've got a track record and notification ahead of time of what's going on, no surprises. The other form in there is the form for the 41-page book. Why? Well, because you might want to change a policy from time to time, and if so, it's all done for you, and if not, you just print it out, take the name of my company out, and you're good to go. So complete, done for you employee handbook. And now your book, the President's Manual. Wow, love this one. 73 pages on your job, 3 audios of me telling you how I handle each facet of my job, plus there are 2 forms. One form, which CD, which I just love, which is the employee orientation. When you get a new employee, I set them down, I run them through this PowerPoint slide presentation. I'll show you a piece of that here in just a second. The other forms is the one that has the forms when I hire somebody. What is the questionnaire? What questions do I have? All that's done for you. Also in this manual is a flow chart chart of your business. And I'm showing you just the very top level. Each one of these boxes are processes. Below these boxes will be other boxes, which will be more processes, and you have to have procedures for every single one. I give those all to you. And if you want to change them, obviously, you're set up to do that. If you look across the bottom of that chart, left-hand side, you'll see chart, find, prospecting, fund, fix, flip, a template, and the plan, which is the implementation plan, how to implement this whole program. So, phenomenal piece of information. Now, let's see the new employee orientation. You might hear a little clicking going on. Well, that's the way I've got it set up. You can turn that off. Here's the first slide that they see. Now, you're going to see that this runs automatic. So I give them time to read the slide. There it goes. I didn't hit the button. It's just running by itself. And this is the agenda that the slides go through. A little bit about who we are. We're the We Buy Houses folks, and there's about 5 companies in town. And we just need to be get our piece of the action. Attitude. I tell them about that. Teamwork. That teamwork's expected. I also tell them that we don't discriminate. And I want to set the tone that we're a professional organization. Can you imagine running your employees through 90 slides in just a few minutes, just like you're seeing right now, about everything about your company? I don't want friends hanging around, and I don't want the computers to be used for personal work. That's what that last slide said. You know, some things you might be embarrassed to tell an employee or uncomfortable about it. You know, I get it right out front and let them know what is expected, and do it in a nice, professional way. And you're just seeing here, I don't know what it was, 8 slides or so about the company. Imagine having 8, 9 slides, having 10 times that amount. Step by step by step. You know, from very beginning, wonderful company was born. You know, that's my company story. You know, with this system, I'm including the unique 3-page job candidate questionnaire I talked about just a second ago, about questions like, what would motivate you to leave a job? This is a carefully crafted questionnaire that allows you to make each candidate find out what makes them tick. And you know, at some point in your life, you might want to outsource some work in your company, whether that is you hire a virtual assistant, or you know, you just hire an employee and turn the work over to them. But however you might want to be a mom and pop shop forever, this system handles all of that. It gives you the systems, the backbone of a real estate company, to take the chaos out of it, to make your life so much easier, and you get all my tools. Who likes the idea of growing your business and letting others do the work so that you got time and money to go do what you really should be doing all along? You know, what you're getting here is an entire franchise in a box. There's 6 comprehensive manuals, 12 information-packed audios, and 9 turnkey forms CD-ROMs, which I just shared with you some of the information, just the top of the iceberg. You know, why should you invest in this? Well, it's got all the check sheets and forms, and you know, there's no doubt you don't want to spend the time and effort to create the 19 check sheets or the forms that I've got, you know, the office forms. It has me on audio with my staff, interviewing them and sharing with them about how we handle our jobs day to day. Just the learning experience from the audios is phenomenal. And more importantly, it's got all my policies and procedures that give you the step-by-step process for my systems. You know, this system will most likely be turned into a franchise once I decide to do that and have some focus on it. I'm having so much fun doing other stuff, I haven't had the focus to go do that. I paid the E-Myth Academy $9,666 a year for 5 years to create this system. You know, you can do that yourself, or you could actually go out and buy your own franchise. What do they cost? $30,000 to $200,000, and or you can invest $2,497 for this system, and that is dirt cheap. In fact, though, I'm going to make you a phenomenal deal here in just a second. Now, I need to tell you that if you want this and procrastinate, and end up wanting to call into the office, you're going to pay $24.97. So you want to jump all over this right now. How do you order? Well, you go to allansoffer.com/office, OFFICE, and let's go through that again, www.allansoffer.com/office. OFFER.com/OFFICE and jump on this right now. Why would you want to do that? Well, it's because I'm going to offer some bonuses here in a second, and not everybody's going to get them. It just doesn't make sense to give away a couple of these bonuses that I'm going to give away to everybody. I want to give them away to encourage folks that want to take action, that want to become part of the team, get started right away, and frankly, you ought to get the system without the bonuses. But I need to limit these actually because of some of the constraints they're going to cause within my office. Or you can call 1-800-584-3346. I'll give it to you again, 800-584-3346. I've got friendly operators standing by to help you through the process. Everything is time stamped, so I'm going to know when you come into the system, whether you order online or whether you call. Frankly, I just click down on your browser right now and go out on allansoffer.com, ALANS, make it plural, allansoffer.com, office, and jump on this, and that way you don't miss out. You know, this system will pay for itself several times over in the first month by removing chaos from your business. Or if you're able to close just one more extra deal because of this system, you'll have a huge return on investment and pay for the system many, many times over from that one deal. The biggest benefits are you're investing in a system. Proven, simple, easy to use, plug it in and let it build your business. And it'll keep working for you time after time after time. You know, if you want to take your business out there to the next level, remove chaos and waste, you know, what are you going to do? You can join the Me Myth like I did. 1 year's $10,000, and if you do it for 5, you know, that's a huge investment. Or you can wait and buy a franchise. Those are $20 or $30 or $200,000 a pop. Or you can invest in the real estate management made easy system. $2,497, and you see bonus number one. Bonus number one is I'm going to drop the price to $1,497. I'm taking $1,000 off, and it is a steal at that. And this is bonus number one. That means, you know, there's more bonuses coming. But what you also need to know is some of these bonuses I got a limit. So when it's time to order, I need to have you jump all over this. Here's what Donathan said. He said, if you want an excellent return on your investment, get Alan's office system. It will keep you from becoming a frustrated, burnout investor like most get-rich-quick seminar students turn into. This comment is from a seasoned investor of over 30 years in the trenches experience. Thank you, Alan, and may God continue to bless you. You know, Donathan was so excited about this system. He got up at one of my events and got on the mic and told the whole room how he loved this system. Think about that from a seasoned investor of over 30 years. You know, one of the best benefits is you get peace of mind, a tremendous resource always at your fingertips. In fact, Marcia was excited about it. She says, private lending and financial freedom are the missing links in education for investors. Alan Cowgill delivers abundance of information that is completely useful for all investors in a real estate business. Alan is generous with his time, extra information, and he does everything first class. It's a privilege to study with such a knowledgeable businessman. You know, I'm going to give you everything I got in this system. The bottom line is that every single one of these resources will help you improve and build your business. Frankly, when I think about what so many real estate investors are truly looking for with their real estate business, I realize that it is this system that is the answer to what they need. The biggest benefits when you're investing in a system. Proven, simple, easy to use. Plug it in and let it build your business. It'll keep working for you time after time after time. Here's what Michael said. He said, honestly, I believe without Alan's system and e-tools, the success of my business is presently experiencing would turn into failure and I would be out of business in a year. Wow. You know, take action. You get a $1,000 discount, and only the bonuses that I'm getting ready to give you are available after this session, so make sure you take advantage of this offer immediately, because if you don't, when you're getting ready to order, you're going to be paying full price. Bonus number 2 is I'm going to give you an hour with my office manager, so you can pick her brain for an hour on any challenges, ideas, plans, etc. you have, and the insights into creating the systems. The only thing I ask is you listen to the audios first, and then you have the right of 1 hour of my office manager. The thing of it is, I'm paying for that, and I've got to limit that to the first 9 folks that jump all over this. So when the time comes, get in there and get it now. This is a value of $450 because I don't want to lose her time, and
it's very important. Bonus number 3, how about my acquisitions manager? I'll give you a half hour of his time. He buys, sells, he's attracted private money. I want you to have every resource to succeed. Here, once again, I'm paying for that. I got to limit that. First 9 folks get my acquisitions manager also. And there's a little cartoon I made from him. He said, okay, folks, here's how you play the real estate game. And that's so true, and that's what he teaches. Bonus number 4 is me. Where I'll work with you. You get my personal email for 90 days, helping you with this system. Also, this is the first 9 folks. You get answers to questions. It's going to take you years to learn on your own, because I've been in this business for years, and access to me is restricted. This certificate gives you a direct line to me, and you don't have to go through my office. This is bonus number 5. I'm going to blow you away right now. Is me teaching my heart out on telling you how to run a real estate business A to Z. I will personally train you on how to use the tools. This is my 4-day event called Financial Freedom Boot Camp, and it's all on the Real Estate Management Made Easy system. The total scope of running a very efficient and effective business. I was in the E-Myth, like I told you, for 5 years, and when I came out of it, I had this system. I'll cover every one of my systems and check sheets, so you can simply plug them into your business and begin getting similar results in just weeks. The next one is filling up fast. You can bring 2 folks, your family member and your office person. Now you got to be there, but bring in if you've hired somebody, let me train them. Look, you can return for the event forever. The investment of the event is $2,995. That's what I've charged over the year. Well, you get it for free. Clarice said, this boot camp really helped me bring the theoretical concept of orchestrating real estate investing down to a tangible and attainable level. As a new investor, I'm excited to have this knowledge now rather than later. That's a key point. I can only imagine how much time and effort it will save me. The Real Estate Management Made Easy system is $2,497. And a half hour with my acquisitions, $450. My office manager, $450. Me helping you for 90 days is priceless. Where you get my personal email, and then a 4-day boot camp on financial freedom, $2,995. For today and today only, you get it for an investment of $1,497, dirt cheap. I firmly believe this could be one of the most important decisions you ever make for your business. Why? Because you're looking for this information. You're fighting it every day. This system gives you the tools at your fingertips that you plug in. It's got my check sheets. It's got my policies and procedures. It's got me on audio training you how to run the business. And to make it risk-free, 100% satisfaction guaranteed, you got 7 days to check it out. If it's not, after you get it, if it's not for you, you get a prompt and courteous refund. You got nothing to lose. And, why go out and reinvent the wheel or fight through what you're fighting through every day with paperwork and everything when I can deliver to you the exact information you need? You got 3 options. Option number 1 is do nothing and continue to work 24/7 to survive and grow your business. Stop everything and, spend hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars to write dozens of policies and procedures and check sheets and manuals and systems on your own. And even when you're done, maybe it won't be at the level that I'm providing. Or number 3, embrace my system. Get my Real Estate Management Made Easy system and start on the path to success. Remember, this will last you for a lifetime, and the systems give you precise tools for success for your whole life. My promise is you'll receive the best, easiest, time-tested way to create and manage a successful real estate business. Success is up to you. You can decide to keep doing what you've been doing, and wonder why you're not seeing success, or you can take action and move closer to your desired results by investing in yourself and your business. The question of it is, what kind of action are you going to take? Well, I think the right answer, and you should know that by now because I just showed you the tip of the iceberg of this system. Go to www.allens, A-L-A-N-S, offer, offer.com/office, OFFICE, or call 1-800-584-3346. 1-800-584-3346. It's been a pleasure taking and having a chance to bring this training to you, and it's been a huge piece of my life. In fact, I have had people come into my office be blown away by how streamlined my systems are,
And in fact, the people that have got their hands on the Office Management Made Easy Home Study System, I've gotten rave reviews. In fact, there are other national speakers that own it. Why would they get their hands on it? Because they know it's the best in the industry. I had one guy say when I first offered this, and he paid full price. He said when I first offered this, he said he knew it would be good. He got his hands on it and he fell in love with it. Other people that have come to that tremendous bonus that only 9 of you are going to get, of me on stage teaching my heart out. The stack of testimonials I've got from people that have been at that boot camp will just amaze you. Just amaze you. Go to allensoffer.com/office or 1-800-584-3346. You know you got nothing to lose. You check the system out. If it's not for you, you get a prompt and courteous refund. You aren't going to return it because the tools that are in my system you are going to fall in love with. So people that get this system, they keep it because they know it is what is needed. They know it is what is missing from so many other trainers out there. I fill that gap with this system. It's actually one of the big major components of your business. You're either going to do this yourself or you're going to get my system, use my tools, and implement it. Well, to your wealth.